So this is the Appiate community, and this is the peak of the explosion right at the heart of the Bogoso I Am Free Highway. And as you can see, we currently have the military, the police barricading the road, or should I say the portion where the incident actually happened, preventing people from getting close. But what is good is that since this is a very important highway, they have created a detour where we have several vehicles still being able to make their way to and from Bogoso to I Am Free and vice versa. But as we speak currently, we have the security over here making sure that we don't have any further escalation of what happened yesterday, making sure that nobody goes close to the heart of the incident. But to just give you a gist of the level of the devastation, these are the remains of the buildings that were actually caught up in the massive explosion that happened here as a result of the collision between a motor bicycle and the truck actually carrying or transporting what the police is telling us explosive meant for Channel gold mines in the western north. And so as you can see, we have all these structures losing their roof, and the structure itself basically torn apart. And if you go around the community, it's basically a ghost town. We don't have any of the residents actually occupying any of these structures. So this is the proper overview of the devastated Appiate community by yesterday's explosion that happened on the highway very close to the community. And the look around shows a total devastation with basically almost every structure here having its roof ripped off. And even the structures themselves are basically broken, and what you see around are basically security officers going around making sure that the little household belongings that have been left behind are not stolen by miscreants who have come here. Because as we speak, about 90% of the populace over here have been relocated just to take a shelter, because the structures we see behind here are not structures that can actually accommodate anybody who wants to actually sleep here. And so, as you can see, we have the fire officers also going around making sure that if there is any fire that is actually still active, it will be put off to make sure that we don't have an escalation of the disaster we saw here. And you can see a fire officer currently putting some of this little spot of fire off, just to make sure that it doesn't trigger into another disaster. But I mean, just beside that structure, we have household wares, we have pillows, we have kitchen utensils, all being brought out by this fire team, making sure that they don't have any contact with the little fire in the structure. So just take a proper look of the structure over here, and you see that this explosion was something different, and nobody in this community actually expected this thing to happen. And if you look at the distance between where the explosion exactly happened, I would say it is just about 5 meters away from the community, but the magnitude of the explosion made its way all the way to far-reaching part of the community. And as we can see, we have the Air Force helicopter patrolling the town, getting a proper assessment of the level of devastation from the skies. But if I'm to show you where exactly the incident happened, that is exactly where the tipper truck has actually gotten to. Residents that were actually occupants of this community are basically non-existent. I'm told by a resident that I came across, about 90% of the residents over here have basically vacated, looking for shelter elsewhere to actually place their head. And what we see here is a basic school that is actually serving this community. And as we speak, the roof is basically gone and it's beyond usable. The blocks, as you can see, have all broken, and this is basically a representation of most of the houses that we are seeing here at Appiate. But we have some of the residents also coming around, and we just want to find out from them whether they live here or they came looking for people. Anybody?
Yeah.
So you are still looking for them?
Yeah, I want them to go to Shim.
Okay. But if you know, what to say?
Atikura, baby on Madame Pony, or Honina, Tikura, yeah. Who has some said that me by me, yes. Apart from a grass, NBC, and Petro Glacier and soon a family. I'm saying, I am a hero.
Sisi a wohwehwe omo hu omo he na wokọ akobusha so bia omo kọ
to me go so hwehwem go so hwehwe me hu nipa me nim na ma besa ma hu so a to ya na me go so hwehwem.
So that is one of the sentiments of a relation who has actually come here looking for the family to see if the relation is around. They've been to the house is broken, they cannot be found.
You were Germany, say, I did be a blast. And you put any enemy say, be a more mubun, and I say, the Anchana may be free. Your friend and also filling station be away home and a jatum. The Anche and all sounds any information for say there be a mines for be chemicals be now, Modi trim, and a moto Okada and maybe across now. Ede saija by the chrome had there so often say call afia a daba kumpanka no more kwa nobody any back a betting omunya madam bimpo do ne ma 5 or kan 6 omunya na ewu enyonko ba kwa no wa so okutwa ade ni 6 and eso odwane ono kwa kobọ ne ma mama ne eso omunya ne o yeso obi anwane no no san kofa afon so okwa kutwa nti ono podi isi ade wewu beda ba kwa ne no ho ne ha sei ade be wo ne ha ama baby or that dear and you is in Yamibim. It is here, Kumi Hapa dear. Unya be our ha. Yenny a cow hampody, yes, be any walk down her saying. But more honey, dear father, we be now. So he said, just are buying. I buy maybe waiting about boy because me, you say me just say, I'm proclaiming minimum. True. If you say, yeah, you will say, will be your name will be out. It gives a be a nana, maybe a word to be. No, boy. This is
So the current phase of the rescue operation, basically over here at Appiate community, what is so much devastated is that we have these uniformed men, security personnel, both police and military, going around making sure that unscrupulous people don't actually come here to actually steal or take away some of the few things that have been left behind after this massive disaster. And so they are making sure the people that they suspect do not belong to this community are actually sent away from this community. So this very transformer is the one I'm told played a significant role in triggering the explosion that we actually saw over here. The transformer, as you can see, is just some few meters from the peak of the explosion down there. And I'm told that when the fire actually caught up with the truck, it didn't take long for it to actually have a connection with the electricity post over here with this transformer to actually blow out to trigger the level of damage the explosion must actually cause here in this community as we see over here. And so currently it's been barricaded and a detour road has actually been created as we speak right now